Live from KSAT 12. The 6 o'clock news starts right now.
From my standpoint, it's a record turnout right now.
Day one of early voting wrapping up in Bexar County. We don't have the official numbers yet, but the elections office says that by 1 p.m., almost 21,000 people in the county had cast their ballots.
So for reference, that's about 6,000 more votes than we saw at the next highest midday mark back in 2018. Also keep in mind the ballot is a lot longer this year. The lines have also been long. Our Garrett Berger is here to discuss the need for patience and also shares advice to speed things up.
Early voting brings out some of the most eager voters.
The future depends on it. Democracy depends on it.
I wanted to vote for President Trump.
And there appear to be more people than ever eager to cast their ballots early in this election. This early polling location at the Northside Activity Center was so busy that some people were leaving because of the size of the line.
We got a 2.5-hour wait. This is going to take away voters. I mean, I'm leaving. I'm going to come back, hopefully, if there's not a 2.5-hour line.
Even a voter whose bad leg got him to the front of the line early was exasperated.
They only have about 8 machines in there. It's ridiculous. We had at least 500 people in there, and they zigzag back and forth, you know.
Elections Administrator Jackie Callanan denied they were short on machines, explaining there are simply lots of people eager to cast their vote.
Am I sorry they have to stand in line? Yes. Am I excited that there's great crowds out there? You better believe it.
There are dozens of races this election. Callanan suggests printing off a personalized sample ballot from the elections website and circling your picks ahead of time so it goes quickly when you're actually at the voting booth. And if your favorite spot is packed, there are others that likely aren't.
It's 2 hours. It's crazy. I've never seen that before. But somebody just showed me a better place that has no line, so I'm going to go vote over there.
Garrett Berger, KSAT 12 News.
Anyone who's registered to vote in Bexar County and wants to do it early has access to 50 polling places. You don't need to go to the one near your home. We'll list the busiest and slowest polling places on KSAT.com so that you can plan ahead for your own trip to the ballot box. So, yeah, there's just 2 weeks between now and Election Day for early voting resources, candidate stories, and so much more election coverage. We invite you to stay in the loop with KSAT's Vote 2024 webpage. It's something that we update every single day. Just scan the QR code that you see on your screen to get more information.
Love to see all the people out there voting, that's for sure. You know, Texans haven't sent a Democrat to the United States Senate since 1988. 1988. That's just one of the many things you've probably heard more than a few times this campaign season, as incumbent Republican Senator Ted Cruz and Democratic challenger Colin Allred battle it out to represent the Lone Star State in Washington. I spoke to both candidates for 2 separate episodes of Spreester Sessions that are dropping right now, today, on KSAT.com and KSAT Plus. We talked about their records, their visions, and the home stretch of their campaigns. And during those campaigns, each man has had to confront something over and over again. For Senator Cruz, it's his lampoon trip to Cancun during the February 2021 winter storm. For Congressman Allred, the ghost of Beto O'Rourke.
Are you tired of hearing about Cancun? You know, it is what it is. It's a funny thing. For Colin Allred and the Democrats, anytime that they're trying to defend their record, they're trying to defend. If Colin Allred is asked about his record voting for open borders over and over and over again, his response is he screams Cancun. If he's asked about voting to kill oil and gas jobs, his response is he screams Cancun. I don't know.
I saw the Texas Tribune not long ago ran an article talking about how they wanted you to be more Beto-esque, Beto O'Rourke, for lack of a better word. How do you view those criticisms?
Well, it just comes with the territory. I have to be who I am, and I know how to run in Texas and how to win tough races. But beyond that, as I said, I am campaigning the way that I'll serve, which is talking about important issues.
You can see my entire unedited conversations with both men right now on KSAT.com and KSAT Plus, and 2 different Spreester Sessions online. You'll also be able to find them on the KSAT YouTube page, and like I said, the KSAT Plus app. More at 10. The San Antonio police arresting 4 juveniles a few hours ago. It all involved a shooting that turned into a police chase. Police say shots were fired at Gembler Road and North W.W. White Road just before 4.
One woman was hit and the vehicle that those minors were in sped off. A chase ensued and ended after the suspect's vehicle hit a curb and spun out at North Burnett and Palmetto. Several guns were recovered and police say that more suspects are still out there. So stay tuned for that. Now, there's another crime that we want to tell you about. You see this gun right here? Well, divers from Harris County just found it at the bottom of Calaveras Lake, and investigators think that this is connected to a shooting that killed a 4-year-old girl back in May. So let's rewind back to that shooting to get you familiar. Well, it happened at a home on Windsor Hollow. You probably remember that footage. It showed 2 men opening fire into a home. They fired 30 shots, and they injured all 5 people who were inside at the time, and that includes 3 kids. Recently, crews from Harris and Bexar counties have been searching through Calaveras Lake for clues, and today a scuba team from Harris County found a loaded gun similar to the one that investigators think was used in the shooting. So now what investigators are going to do is test the weapon to see if it matches the crime, and if it does, the hope is that investigators will then use that to find the shooters, because up until now, no one's been charged for what happened.
It's been 15 days, still no sign of Suzanne Simpson, the Alamos Park realtor, the mother of 4, last seen walking away from her home on the night of Sunday, October 6th with her husband, Brad.
And since that moment, Brad has been in jail. He's charged with domestic violence crimes, not with her disappearance, however. Alamos Park Police, Texas DPS, and Rangers, they've looked through several sites to try and find Suzanne.
Yeah, that includes the couple's home, the woods around their house in Alamos Park, even spending several days at a southeast side landfill last week.
So we know that none of those searches have ended with any evidence or sign of Suzanne Simpson. In the weeks since Suzanne's disappearance, Brad Simpson's brother Barton has posted several statements to social media detailing the family's heartbreak and also revealing that Brad is not cooperating with authorities to find Suzanne.
That's why authorities need your help. If you know anything that could help investigators find Suzanne, call the Alamos Park Police Department. These are 3 numbers you can use to contact Alamos Park. All of this information also on our website, KSAT.com.
Bexar County's sheriff says that he is far from giving up in the search for a killer. It's been almost a month since this woman, Stacy Dromiga, was murdered on a local park trail. Katrina Weber now tells us about a new tactic that investigators are using to hopefully solve the case.
On 4 wheels and 4 legs, Bexar County deputies scoured the trails along the Salado Creek Greenway. That was last month, in the moments after the discovery of 63-year-old Stacy Dromiga's body. She had disappeared the previous day after heading out on a long walk from Covington Park on Rigsby Avenue. Somewhere along the way, she suffered head injuries in what investigators call a murder.
The good thing for us is we've got some evidence that we're working with. Would I love to have been able to put somebody in jail by now for this case? Absolutely.
Sheriff Javier Salazar says he's frustrated but not defeated by the lack of a suspect in this case. Soon after the murder, deputies arrested 37-year-old Marco Antonio Flores, leading some to believe it could be case closed.
Evaded from deputies when they began asking him questions. It seemed at that time that he knew a little too much about the homicide case.
But the sheriff says so far, Flores is only a person of interest. The charge against him is for running from deputies. Meanwhile, the investigation now is heading in a new direction. In the days immediately following Dromiga's murder, investigators spent a lot of time on these trails looking for clues. Now they're counting on information coming to them.
It is a Crime Stoppers case, so I would use this as an opportunity to remind everybody that if you've got information on this case, please give us a call.
He hopes money might be motivation, a cash reward offered for the right clues. Anyone with information is asked to call Crime Stoppers at 210-224-STOP. Katrina Weber, KSAT 12 News.
And now to the courtroom where the mother of a man who was murdered in 2018 still fighting for justice in her son's name. Phyllis Little says the legal system failed her son, Terrence Scott. The man accused of killing Scott, Tremoria Powell. He had his murder charges dismissed in 2023, but was rearrested last week on family violence charges. Little now left wondering if she will ever see justice for her son and if the district attorney's office will ever prosecute Powell in the case of her son's murder. Powell is now awaiting indictment on the recent charges he was arrested for. We did reach out to the DA's office for a statement. They say in part, quote, this case was dismissed for further investigation and is currently with law enforcement to continue their investigation. Since there's no statute of limitations for the offense of murder, the case could potentially be refiled. Given the ongoing nature of the investigation, we cannot provide additional details at this time, end quote.
Now we want to take a live look outside just in case you're expecting anybody to come home. Yeah, Loop 410 at Fredericksburg. Looks pretty nice and easy there, but we are seeing a little bit of a slowdown. It's just a lot heavier there on the westbound lanes that you see coming towards you. That's just a little bit more packed at this hour, but otherwise it looks like traffic is flowing smoothly, which is always a nice start to the week.
And a sunny, warm and dry start to the week. Actually, the morning temperature 59 was exactly average for this time of year, but we made it to 85 in San Antonio. The average high is 81, by the way. Hit 90 in Carrizo Springs and Laredo. Looking at our temperature trend, we're going to be well into the 80s going forward, mid to upper 80s the rest of the week and through the weekend. We'll talk about how dry we are and take a look at rain chances across the state in just a bit.
All right, thank you, Adam. 189 Germans helped defend Texas independence in the Battle of the Alamo in 1836. Starting today, those Germans will forever be remembered for the part they played in that battle. A commemorative stone placed inside the Alamo to serve as an eternal tribute to the German defenders. The stone, a gift to the Alamo from the country of Germany, a country that has so many historical and cultural ties to San Antonio and South Texas.
Selena Quintanilla has been posthumously honored with the National Medal of Arts this afternoon over at the White House. It's the highest award that artists and groups can receive.
Well deserved. The medal signifies the artist's place and enrichment of art in America. The Queen of Tejano music, one of 20 individuals and groups to be honored in today's ceremony.
It's very difficult to get a Lamborghini dealership.
A difficult and competitive process ending in San Antonio. The Alamo City, the home for the newest Lamborghini dealership. Coming up at 6:30, what it took to bring the luxury brand to town and why San Antonio was too good of a town to pass up.
Not a mystery to me. Plus, putting people in the position to succeed. How 2 local organizations are teaming up to help people with special needs find careers that fit. That's after the break.
It's become pretty clear special needs employment is an issue that requires collaboration. People with special needs have historically had a tough time finding employment, especially somewhere that's a good fit.
Courtney Friedman explains how 2 organizations are working together in the same building to eliminate gaps and also get more people to work.
Angela Packard was diagnosed from a young age with cerebral palsy, an autoimmune disorder, and intellectual disability.
You can do is more powerful than what you can't do.
That awesome attitude has landed her a business degree, working 2 jobs, and even serving on the board at Morgan's Multi-Assistance Center called the MAC, a one-stop shop for people with special needs. One of the things she loves seeing the most is the enormous collaboration to get people with special needs into the workforce, called Workforce Inclusion Network, or WIN.
They'll determine what kind of employment they're interested in, what their current skills are, what some training they might need is, and then they are partnered with a community employment agency to help us get them that perfect fit.
MAC President Sandy Etheridge says the community agency Endeavors Unlimited is already helping people get and keep jobs. And now they have a brand new office inside the MAC.
They may be closing gaps organization-wise, but also physically. The Endeavors folks are working literally 5 feet away from the staff at the WIN.
Endeavors Regional Program Manager Melissa Toller says clients can get pre-job coaching.
Resume writing, cover letter writing, the simple thing of how to fill out an application properly.
Doing mock interviews. We even go as far as eye contact and handshakes.
Firm. There you go. Where we get to learn how to count money.
61, 62, 63.
This is how you swipe a credit card on the cash register.
Once they get the job, Endeavors does something unique. They continue case management for as long as the client needs.
I think that's the biggest gap, is being able to go into the workplace and then we don't leave you.
Endeavors also works with employers.
Go in and we can work with the supervisor to find out what do you need to be trained on to get to that next role. And then we come in and do that training.
Full circle support to truly create a ripple effect of change. Courtney Friedman, KSAT 12 News.
That is awesome. Sometimes we do stories about a lot of organizations that help people get the job, but it's about keeping the job. Consistency is so important, so I'm so glad that they're doing this.
Yeah, it's vital. All right, 84 degrees out there. I'm guessing this shot is frozen since the cars are not moving.
Yeah.
But the weather is always moving, and it seems to be temperatures moving up, Adam.
You know, our weather is on cruise control. I think that's the best way to put it. Cruise control, it's just coasting and not changing much. Actually, we're starting with our 7-day forecast. Let's get right to it. Here's the proof of the cruise control. Then we'll get into our drought conditions and some stats there. I mean, we're talking mornings in the mid 60s, afternoons mid to upper 80s, even clipping 90 in some locations briefly over at least the next 7 days. We may have a weak cool front by Halloween. 64 at 7 a.m., near 80 at noon, 86 the high temperature, and it's south-southeasterly wind basically at 5 to 15 miles per hour. High temperatures tomorrow will be 88 Pleasanton, near 90 Del Rio, 90 in Cotulla and Carrizo Springs, 91. And you look at the temperature trend throughout October, the vast majority of it above average. That's these orange days means above average. The red is record setting, which we did twice, but we also tied the record on the 15th. So there were 3 record days today. Then look at that. We just had the 2 days below average behind that recent cool front that we had last week. It has been 45 days without measurable rain at San Antonio International Airport. I know other parts of town had some measurable rain, but this is our official climate site, and that's what goes in the books. This is the longest stretch since 1996. The record stretch was 63 days. That was back in 1993. Not a good stretch to have. And going forward, unfortunately, we don't see any good rain chances within the next 7, I think even 10 days. We're looking very dry. Not just here, but most of the state. There will be a weak upper level disturbance by Friday and the weekend to bring some showers to the Gulf coastline. But that's about it. I mean, otherwise, we're going to stay dry. And obviously, we need the rain. We all know that. The latest drought monitor has this red area expanding. That's the extreme drought. It's expanding out of the hill country and even into northwest Bexar County, and then surrounded by other drought categories. But you think about it, along the coastal plain just a couple months ago, not even considered abnormally dry. Now, in the first stages of drought, and 55% of the state is in drought. Here in Bexar County, it's been over 1,000 days since the entire county was considered drought-free, 1,022 to be exact. Over the past 30 days, we've had 0% of our normal rainfall because, well, we haven't had measurable rain in over 40 days. And you look at the basically last year, all the way to this time last year, we've had 77% of our normal precipitation, but its timing is everything, and we need the rain now to help get us out of the drought and boost the aquifer, which is about 36 feet below average. Upper level high in place right now. The weak upper level low that's over the midsection of the country is going to be exiting, and overall we have a basic plain weather pattern with this west to east flow, which doesn't mix things up, and that weak low over the Gulf Coast, bringing them some showers. That's about it. Word of the day, words of the day, cruise control for the weather.
Got it.
All right, so we're looking ahead to Thursday, the Spurs and the Mavs.
Yes.
How's that going?
Well, the Spurs are saying all the right things. You know, they're healthy, they're ready to go, and they can't wait to get CP3 on the court in the regular season with Wemby and this guy, Keldon Johnson. And KJ says he feels the Spurs really have improved a lot. And our BGC game of the week, we'll see Smithson Valley at New Braunfels coming up. After putting on a free scrimmage for their fans Saturday at the Frostbank Center, the Spurs are now getting ready for the regular season opener at the Dallas Mavericks with the additions of veterans Chris Paul and Harrison Barnes and with Victor Wembanyama and the other guys getting better during the offseason. The Spurs are expecting to make some noise. Keldon Johnson is ready to show what this year's version of the silver and black can do.
I mean, I feel like we got a lot better. New season, I mean, competitive, want to win. I feel like we're hungry, so I feel like new season, new start. We're ready to go come Thursday.
Keldon and the Spurs going to feed that hunger Thursday night at 6:30 at the Dallas Mavericks. Not only did the Texas Longhorns lose Saturday night to Georgia, but they were also fined $250,000 by the SEC after fans threw bottles on the field in the third quarter following a penalty on the Hordes, which was eventually overturned. The SEC also said that Texas must use available resources to find and suspend fans who threw debris, review alcohol availability policies, and provide a report of the school's findings to the SEC. Coach Sark loves UT fans, but he wants them to make better decisions at games.
We've got a passionate fan base, and I think that showed Saturday night. And, I think we were all a little upset in that moment. And, I just think that we've all got to use a little better discretion in moments like that we don't want that to be the narrative, that's what, DKR is all about.
Number 5 Texas will next play at number 25 Vanderbilt this Saturday at 3:15 p.m. It is now week 9 in high school football, and our game of the week Friday night we'll see the New Braunfels Unicorns hosting the Smithson Valley Rangers in a key District 13 5A matchup. The Unicorns are 5-2 overall this season, 3-1 in district. The Unicorns had their 4-game winning streak snapped Friday night, 49-35 versus District Big Dog, the Piper Warriors. Now the Unicorns will take on the Rangers.
Well, I think it's huge, especially after this last week, after a loss. I think it's huge. It's a huge test for us to bounce back, and that's the word this week is bounce back and get after Smithson Valley this week.
Yeah, I think we just got to go into it, forget about last week. Take what we can, learn from it, and then move on and just put all of our energy and knowledge on this game.
The visiting Smithson Valley Rangers are also 5-2 overall this season and 3-1 in district, just like New Braunfels. So this is a battle for second place in District 13 5A. Now both teams have lost to Piper. The Rangers are winners of 2 straight after knocking off Wagner 30-8 and Seguin 47-7. And the Rangers know the Unicorns are hungry and looking to get back in the win column.
I know they're a really good program, and I know they prepare every week the same, and they treat every opponent the same. So we got to be ready for their best shot.
It's big. I remember you talked about the Brennan game whenever they lost week 1, and I told you, they're pretty legit. And coming off of a loss, teams definitely they're definitely more hungry for a win. So I think it's big, and I think they're going to give us everything they have this week, and it'll be a big one.
Smithson Valley at New Braunfels Friday night at 7 is our game of the week. The Rangers are number 9 and the Unicorns number 11 in 12's top 12 Class 6A, 5A rankings. And happy birthday to Rangers head football coach Larry Hill.
You know what he'd like for a present?
Absolutely. A dub.
A W. Yeah. Thanks, Larry. Luxury car brand Lamborghini, one of the newest residents in the Alamo City.
So we'll discuss why they decided to build their newest dealership in the Alamo City. That's up next on the news at 6:30. We'll see you after the break.
A new dealership along I-10 has some people doing a double take. Lamborghini San Antonio officially opened this summer. With only 42 dealerships across the country, some may be wondering why or how San Antonio got one of these.
KSAT producer Prashada Pope spoke with the chairman and CEO of Lamborghini, who says that San Antonio is really the perfect city for this. And she also spoke with the director of the city's economic development department, who says that San Antonio's appeal is attracting companies far and wide.
Lamborghini now at full throttle in the Alamo City. Lamborghini San Antonio officially opening the doors of the brand new 40,000 plus square foot dealership and service center, joining Dallas, Houston, and Austin as exclusive Texas cities to have one. But the dealership here stands out from the others because it's the largest Lamborghini dealership in the nation.
It's very difficult to get a Lamborghini dealership, and it's a competitive process.
Bruce Knox, managing partner of the dealership, knows firsthand how much work it is to bring a global brand and operation to Texas. He happens to be the managing partner of Lamborghini Austin, and he had an intricate role in bringing Formula One racing to Austin via the Circuit of the Americas.
He's getting towards Max Verstappen now, tries to cover him off and pushes him to the left-hand side.
But Lamborghini, they want to expand, and they want to expand in key growth markets.
The dealership's grand opening highlighted by the regional debut of the new hybrid supercar, the Lamborghini Temerario. During the honors, the chairman and CEO himself of Automobili Lamborghini, Stefan Winkelmann, making the trip all the way from Italy.
San Antonio is a big city, and we already have
dozens of cars of Lamborghini driving around here. So it's the right moment to open up the fourth dealership here in Texas.
It's why the partnership headed by the Vega family proposed San Antonio to Lamborghini's North American office and ultimately persuading corporate leadership.
As our headquarters in Italy, but we have our regional office, which is taking care of the Americas in Washington, D.C. So they know where the opportunities are in terms of business, where there are customers, and therefore we decide if there is enough space to open up a dealership without jeopardizing the job of the other dealerships around the country.
Knox says the city has worldwide appeal.
I think it really should tell the city that San Antonio is on the global map.
We're seeing a lot of growth. The pipeline has been pretty robust.
Brenda Hicks Sorensen, San Antonio's Economic Development Department Director, says San Antonians shouldn't be surprised our city is making the cut when it comes to global and national companies expanding here or coming here to set up shop. She points to Toyota bringing its $500+ million expansion project here. It could have been awarded somewhere else.
Steady. Dig.
And in June, JCB, the world's largest privately owned construction, agricultural, and industrial equipment manufacturing company, broke ground on a new 400-acre facility. Hicks Sorensen explains one of the driving forces behind the investment boom is the city's population growth that's adding to the local workforce.
We're the fastest growing city in the United States. 20,000 residents just this past year, over 100,000 in the past 3 years.
According to the U.S. Census, San Antonio is home to close to 1.5 million people. Something else that's making San Antonio attractive? Growth in its target industries. That's bringing big salaries that can offer financial upward mobility.
Bioscience and aviation, aerospace, automotive, of course, solid presence here. But then IT security and cyber, sustainable energy. The average salary range in those sectors tend to be anywhere from 70 to 100,000. And then, of course, that's the average. So it's much more, upward.
Paying attention to all of this are consumer-based businesses.
Retailers tend to locate where people are locating. Like our gross domestic product as a community continues to show consistent growth. It rose 6.81% from 2022 to 2023.
Hicks Sorensen says San Antonio's economic momentum has shifted into a higher gear, but stresses the investments happening now are priming the economy for a more robust future.
It's not going to happen overnight, but it's definitely something that we're starting to see.
And Knox says that tracks.
We have 6 acres here next to us, so having Lamborghini, adding a couple more dealerships, and then having car storage as well. So an automotive campus, if you will. We invested in the future, not looking at tomorrow, but looking 10 years from today.
Pashada Pope, KSAT 12 News.
They're beautiful cars. Now, in case you were wondering, Lamborghini's hybrid, new models cost anywhere from $258,000 to $604,000. They are not cheap.
But you could dream.
I don't know. Even if I had that money, I just
keep thinking about my wife. You bought a car for how much?
Imagine just the cost of an oil change on a vehicle like that,
But if you can afford a car like that.
Yes. You're not thinking of the oil changes.
You're not thinking about the oil changes.
It's really about the fantasy, because I will say, I was at Bernie, and then coming back, drove by the Lamborghini dealership, and I was with my photographer, Adam Barraza, and he's like, yeah, could we just go and stop? He just wanted to window shop and just look, and I'm like, all right. It's just about that,
Did you stop?
Yes, of course.
Did you drive one?
No.
Oh, okay.
I don't think they're open to just people coming in for test drives.
Yeah. Otherwise, that wouldn't go over too well.
All right.
It'll be interesting to see if we see more of them on the roads, like on the highways and stuff, because there is a dealership here. And you'd think Houston, right? Yeah. Houston, but no. Way to go, Santa.
If I buy a Lamborghini, do I get dinner at Papa John's or something?
One of those deals.
Yeah.
you get a 12-inch TV.
Yeah, we'll be right back.
San Antonio Animal Care Services says that it's going to amend its social media policy after a national free speech group took the public agency to task last month for censoring hundreds of comments on its official Facebook page.
Earlier this year, a commenter wrote on Animal Care Services' Facebook page, quote, "You're not a shelter. You are a disgrace. Do better." Another person wrote that the facility was a slaughterhouse. The comments weren't online for long, as records show they were eventually hidden from view. 2 of more than 400 in all censored by the agency over a 1-month period, according to Aaron Turr, Director of Public Advocacy for the Foundation for Individual Rights and Expression, or FIRE.
The internet and social media are not First Amendment free zones.
Which is why Turr's organization sent a letter to ACS's interim director last month informing him that his agency was restricting constitutionally protected speech.
The government can't censor speech online any more than it can in the offline world. So it doesn't matter whether you're speaking at a city council meeting or in a public park or in the comment section of a government-run Facebook account. The First Amendment protects you.
Case in point, the emotional victim impact statement last month from Janie Naheda, as the widow placed some of the blame for the 2023 mauling death of her husband Ramon on the ACS investigators who allowed the dogs to remain with their owners.
And right now, there's somebody that should be sitting right there next to you guys, and it should be the city. The city should be there sitting next to you guys because they're guilty too.
Judge Velia Mesa was nearly as pointed in her criticism of the agency during the same sentencing hearing.
Clearly, our city has a lot of work to do to provide services to deal with responsible dog ownership.
And that was our Dylan Collier reporting. Tomorrow on the Night Beat, the city responds to the censorship allegations and also explains changes to its social media policy.
All right, we're in the 80s. That's good. Beautiful weather, great mornings, but need some rain.
We need some rain badly. And, it's not overly hot. We're still coming out of summer, which was very hot. And this doesn't feel as bad, but relative to this time of year, we're still running above average, at least in the afternoons. 85 was the high today. That's 4 degrees above average. The record today, 93. So that set back the last year, actually. The mornings will be getting a little bit warmer into the 60s as the humidity fluctuates. We'll get into that coming up after the break. Today, Carrizo Springs hit 90 along with Victoria. Freer and Laredo topped out at 90 as well. An update on the tropics in just a bit.
Day of the Dead dates back to pre-Columbian, pre-Hispanic, indigenous traditions in Mexico. The Aztecs, as they conquered people, incorporated their traditions into the Aztec pantheon. So we know that these are borrowings from Mesoamerican peoples. So one of the questions is why these dates? October 31st, November 1st, November 2nd. It is because that the ancient calendar, the ancient sacred calendar, these are what are known as cross-quarter days. They fall exactly between fall equinox and winter solstice. So this is exactly the midpoint. And it is understood by ancient peoples that this is the moment when the veil that separates the world of the living and the world of the dead is at its thinnest. What's interesting, of course, is that it's not unique only to Mexico, this moment of linking back to ancestors. So it happens that in Japan and Shinto traditions it's Obon, in Celtic traditions it's Samain. As the sun is losing the battle and the night is gaining, it's universally felt that this is the resurgence of the domain of the dead and our ancestors.
All right, welcome back. I just wish that we were getting more of that fall weather, and also we need some more rain.
Yeah, I have to be honest. I wish I had a lot of good news for you, but
you're seeing something off in the distance.
Yeah, we could have a weak cool front by Halloween, right? So there may be a subtle shift at that point, but it's really just rinse and repeat cruise control kind of weather here going forward. And we really need the rainfall. Our drought's just getting worse, and our rain stats or lack thereof are just getting bigger. So I want to start with tomorrow. 64 degrees at sunrise. It's going to be a cloudy start to the day. By the afternoon, we'll have the sunshine. Now, this is a very common feature in our weather where we have the cloudy mornings at sunrise and then the sun breaks out. So it may tease you a little bit in the mornings because we'll have the low clouds. You may think, oh, hey, maybe we'll get a shower. No, because this isn't that kind of action. What we have is increasing humidity at night. Right now, dew points in the 50s, not feeling so bad, right? Fairly pleasant. But as you go through the night, the wind off the Gulf of Mexico surges that moisture back into place. Dew points are back into the 60s, which is that muggy category. And that's the way it is to start the day, not just tomorrow, but every day this week. You'll feel the humidity early in the day, but not as much by the afternoon, because as the sun heats us up, the air mixes and drier air aloft comes downward. So the afternoons feel a little more comfortable. But main point here, some of this humidity in the morning helps, and that wind off the Gulf of Mexico helps to create the low clouds early in the morning. And these are the nighttime dew points going to be in that muggy category going forward until we can really sweep it away with a cool front. So here's some stats that our weather team came up with earlier today. So where's the rain in San Antonio? September 5th, that was the last time we had measurable rain at San Antonio International, more than just a trace. That means 1/100 of an inch or more. Rainy season is often September through October, and then again as we get into the spring around May time frame. We have kind of two quote-unquote rainy seasons when you look at the climatological average, but it doesn't mean it happens every year, of course. It's just odds would favor this time of year, the transition seasons, fall, spring. That's usually when the air masses are moving around the most across the nation and across the globe, really. And you look at the driest on record from September 5th through today. So since we had that measurable rain, it's the driest stretch that we've had in 139 years, just in that stretch. So interesting numbers there. Here's the overall rainfall potential, and it's pretty bleak. Along the Gulf Coast, a few showers because of a weak upper level system could give them a bit of rain by Friday into the weekend. Otherwise, it's a pretty quiet pattern. Weak upper level high overhead. Another one is off to the west of us. But here's the key thing is this weak upper level low bringing another round of weekend showers to the Gulf coastline, just like they had earlier this week. But notice the general wind flow is pretty much west to east. Obviously a few little bumps and dips, but mostly west to east. That's what we call a zonal flow. And that's a quiet weather pattern. And that's weather on cruise control. What we need is what we call a meridional flow when there's more dips and ridges in the upper level pattern. And into next week, we could see a few more of these troughs, and right now it doesn't look like it's going to give us any hope for rain. Anyway, we do have a weak tropical system out there. It's weak tropical storm Oscar moving away from Cuba toward Bermuda, not really going to strengthen at all.
Coming up in the buzz, we're going to talk about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. See you in a bit.
The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inducted its class of 2024 over the weekend.
There you go. This year's class included Cher, Mary J. Blige, Dave Matthews Band, Peter Frampton, Ozzy Osbourne, Kool and the Gang, Foreigner, and A Tribe Called Quest.
So this is Osbourne's second induction. He was actually inducted as part of Black Sabbath back in 2006.
Now, some people are debating whether all of these acts are actually rock and roll.
There's always that debate every year.
Yeah, but it's a celebration
classic
of music.
Yeah.
There you go. We'll be right back.
Back to the tropics, there's nothing else out there with potential development right now, and usually this is the time of year when we see that tropical activity really slow down. Tomorrow, 88 Converse, 86 in Divine, Utopia 87 and 88 in Gonzales. Our weather's on cruise control. Mornings in the 60s, afternoons, upper 80s near 90 for most of the week.
Have a great dinner, and we'll see you right back here on the Night Beat.
Yep, see you after the game.